Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube, Diggy546, and today we're back again from the dumpster fire. And today I wanted to talk about some possible free agents that the Giants should be interested in once free agency opens up. Now, this isn't my exhaustive list. I'm only going to give you 5 names, and there are a couple other names that I like. But like I said, today we'll start off with 5. Now, the biggest issue with the Giants right now is that we don't have a quarterback on the roster. Now, a ton of us want to go in the draft and get a guy like Cam Ward or get a guy like Shedeur Sanders, or maybe even take a guy in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, wherever you want to take one. But I still think we need to go into this next season or into the draft with a veteran on the roster. And I think a name that makes a ton of sense, again, this isn't my exhaustive list of names. This is a free agent player, is Jameis Winston. And Jameis he's an explosive player. He can have huge games. He can run the offense, but he's going to have horrible mistakes. Now, we've heard a lot of things from Jameis Winston this past offseason or during the Super Bowl about how he's focused on limiting the turnovers, focused on making the right decisions. It's kind of a prove it year. And maybe Brian Dable can be the coach that finally brings it out of Jameis Winston. I mean, you think he had Bruce Arians. He had a ton of offensive coordinators that you could say aren't necessarily the risk-averse type. And Dable may not be either. I mean, you look at, he's had some good quarterback coaches, some good coaches who work well with quarterbacks. He had Sean Payton, who you said that really helped him be able to understand the game a little bit better. He also had Kevin Stefanski for the Browns this past year. And I think Stefanski is a good coordinator / head coach. But if he can come here and just make explosive plays, mistakes or not, I think that just raises the level of play because the Giants haven't been getting any explosive plays. He had a 500-yard game almost last year, 497, in like his 2nd or 3rd game starting. And then last year, or not last year, but years ago, he had a 30 for 30. 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, but also 5,000 yards. So again, he will bring the big plays here. He is not a long-term solution until he can hold on to the football, which I'm not sure he can ever do, but he will allow a young quarterback to sit behind him while he at least makes big plays on a week-to-week basis. So Jameis Winston is my first free agency signing that I'm thinking about. The next guy is we need some help on that line, specifically next to Dexter Lawrence. We don't have anybody that really stands out there. And I have a perfect name for you, Milton Williams. Milton Williams from the Eagles, defensive tackle, 13% pass rush win rate last year. So really good pass rush win rate from a defensive tackle. Really good. In this Super Bowl that they just played, that they just won, he had a 19% pass rush win rate. And that is nuts. He completely dominated the line of scrimmage. And I think he can do that, especially beside a guy like Dexter Lawrence. Playing beside the guy that they have, Jalen Carter, is really cool. I mean, playing beside that guy is I'm sure helpful. But playing beside Dexter Lawrence takes it to a whole different level because Dex is so big, he can move so quickly, and he just kind of wreaks havoc with everything around him. So putting him beside Milton Williams, it will make the defensive tackle room expensive. I don't think that Milton Williams is going to cost you over 20 mil. I think he's a guy that comes in between 14 mil to like 18 mil, which with the cap going up is not bad for a pass rushing defensive tackle of his caliber that you're then putting beside Dexter Lawrence. So I wouldn't have any problem with that. Again, 5 sacks last year, but if you look at the tape, disruptive player, Milton Williams. Check him out if you, for some reason, don't have any record of how well he's been playing. So another guy is Rasul Douglas, cornerback, coming over from the Buffalo Bills. I thought he was older than he is. I think he's only like 29 or 30. I thought he was older. But anyway, he ranks 6th among cornerbacks in run defense. And looking at that, that's really our biggest need. That's really our biggest need. If you take a look at the run defense last year, we had some issues at linebacker, sure. We had some issues even at edge, but the biggest issue for me in run defense were the cornerbacks. The slot corner, Andrew Phillips, was a lot of times really, really aggressive, but the outside corners did not set the edge. They always jumped inside on both sides, and there was constant runs to the outside, and that's something that we just cannot continue to do. So I would love to bring in a solid vet in here that could come in and, also cover. You look at Rasul Douglas, we need someone that can play the football, and he's got 7 pass breakups in 6 of his last 7 NFL seasons. 7 out of his last 7 seasons, he's had 7 pass breakups 6 times. He's also had 4 or more interceptions in each of the past 3 seasons. So he gets his hands on the football, and that's what we don't have. So our 2 biggest problems at corner, he solves. If we still want to draft a corner high, draft him high. No problem with that. So Rasul Douglas, I think could be a nice deal, a nice little 2-year, 3-year deal. Bring him in. I think he solidifies that secondary just a bit more. Gives Deonte Banks a little bit more time to mature and takes a little bit of that pressure off of him. Next guy, Teven Jenkins. If you take a look at that Brett Coleman video from when he was coming out of the draft, the most violent guy in college football, he is still very violent, and he's now at guard instead of tackle, and he's doing a great job. He's doing a great job. Not an elite player, but an ascending player, and I think he's only 26. I think he's still a young player. So this is his first contract. This is his first free agency. 75 pass block rate. So solid there. And it's his career high. It's his career high. He's a monster in the run game, physical, athletic. And then he allowed a pressure rate of only 3.8%. An ascending guard, a young guard, throw him on that line, put him at one of the guard spots. Yes, Evan Neal could possibly be an answer there, but I'm not banking on it. So bringing a guy, a vet that has played guard, that has done it successfully, and I would love to have Teven Jenkins in here to play right guard, and that makes the offensive line that much better. So Teven Jenkins. And then as far as the money, I don't think he'll command that much money. I think he'll be a sub $11 million guard, which is crazy because these days the top guy may be making over $20 million. And then finally, we got Chase Young, the former Washington Commander, Washington football team player that we lost the bowl to go get Chase Young, but we ended up getting a better player. But Chase Young got traded last year from the Commanders, ended up on the Saints, and I think he ended up going someplace else after that. But anyway, I'm not sure exactly where he's coming from. He's been so many places. But Chase Young, 5.5 sacks this past year, 21 quarterback hits. He just has to stay healthy. He just got to stay healthy. If he does stay healthy, having this guy as a rotational pass rusher would be amazing. I don't have any issues paying him, 10, 11 million. He's got to prove he can stay healthy. Even if he's a 1-year rental, bring the guy in. 13.7% pass rush win rate, which is 14th among qualifying edge rushers. So that means that he's a starting edge. That's plain and simple. He's a starting edge, and he's in the top half of starting edges as far as win rate. Throw him there in that Azeez Ojulari spot if you let him walk, or bring back Azeez. But I think he's a little bit of an upgrade. I think he'll be a little bit better against the run than Azeez. And maybe he takes Kayvon Thibodeau's job. Maybe he does, maybe not. But way too talented of a player to ignore. And that gives us 5 names. So you all let me know what you think of this list. These are, of course, the beginnings. I may come out with some film sessions on some of these players. But, of course, I'm interested in a ton more players this free agency. And you let me know who you're looking to sign this free agency about we're maybe about 3 or 4 weeks out from it now.